Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your sources, all that research, and really boil it down to the essentials. Today, we're getting into the really fascinating history of the flanger effect. Our goal here is to figure out how this sound, which actually started as kind of a studio mistake, became such a signature modulation effect in music.
Yeah, and it's that sound, that swirling, swooshing. Sometimes it sounds like a jet plane taking off. Sometimes it's more watery. If you've heard it, you know it. It's definitely left its mark on so many recordings.
Okay, so let's unpack this origin because, like you said, it wasn't really design, was it? It was more of an accident. You have to picture these old studios, right? With the big tape machines, two of them running together, synchronized.
Exactly. And the engineers, they were always experimenting. And someone figured out, well, if you just gently press down on the flange, that's like the rim of the tape reel on one machine.
Just with your thumb.
Yeah, literally just applying a bit of pressure. It slows that one tape down just a tiny, tiny bit. Seems simple, right? But the effect was kind of mind-blowing for the time.
So what did that actually do to the sound, that little bit of pressure?
Well, what's really fascinating is the physics of it. You get these things called comb filtering sweeps
Mm-hmm.
because you have two identical signals, but one's slightly delayed, and that delay is constantly changing slightly because of the finger pressure. So certain frequencies cancel out, others get boosted, and these cancellations, these notches, they sweep up and down. That's the whoosh.
Ah, okay, so it wasn't just a delay, it was the movement of the delay.
Precisely. It's the change.
Yeah.
And they took this, well, this technical glitch, really, and turned it into a creative tool. Super clever.
And your sources point to some really famous early examples, the Beatles,
Oh,
right?
yeah. They were right there at the start. Tomorrow Never Knows off Revolver in '66. That's one of the first big ones.
And Ichiku Park a year later.
Yep. Small Faces, 1967, another classic early use. Really cemented it in that psychedelic sound.
It's amazing they could even control it, doing it manually like that.
Absolutely. Must have taken real skill. And then, things got even more complex. Engineer Eddie Kramer, working with Hendrix, managed to do it in stereo on Bold as Love, also in '67.
Stereo, how would that even work with tape? More fingers.
Probably needed more hands on deck. But yeah, you'd need to synchronize 4 tracks across 2 machines and somehow manipulate the flanges for both stereo pairs consistently. Really tricky stuff back then, a real art form.
Okay, so that manual tape method, obviously pretty cumbersome. What was the breakthrough that made it easier?
That came in '69 with the invention of something called Bucket Brigade-based delay chips, BBDs.
Right, BBDs. And what did those do?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
these chips basically allowed engineers to replicate that tape delay effect electronically. In a tiny little chip, it passed the audio signal along a chain of capacitors, like passing water down a line of buckets, hence the name. Creates a delay.
Got it. So no more thumbs on reels.
Exactly. And that meant you could build a dedicated flanger unit. Reliable, consistent, Eventide jumped on this. They released the first commercial rack mount flanger late in 1974. Studios everywhere started getting them.
And these rack units, they had electronic control, right? Like an LFO.
Yeah, exactly. A low-frequency oscillator. That's just an electronic circuit that creates a slow, repeating wave.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use that wave to automatically control the delay time, creating that sweep without anyone touching anything. Consistent, repeatable flanging. It really set the stage for what came next.
Which brings us to pedals. Here's where it gets really interesting for guitarists, right? Taking it out of the studio.
Oh, totally. 1976, that's when the pedal flanger era really kicked off.
And this shift from these big, expensive studio racks to a little stomp box, what was the real significance there?
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it? It's not just about size. It democratized the effect. Suddenly, any guitarist could afford it, could put it on their pedal board, haul it on stage. It wasn't just for studio wizards anymore. It put that sound directly into the hands of musicians, live. Huge creative impact.
And who was first out of the gate with a pedal?
Well, Electro-Harmonix brought out the Electric Mistress in '76. That was designed by David Cockrell, using those BBD chips we talked about. Sold for around, $199 back then.
Wow. And your sources mention others around the same time.
Yeah, it was like a mini explosion. Late '76, you suddenly see ads in Guitar Player magazine for the EHX Mistress, but also the MXR Flanger and the Tycho Brahe pedal flanger, all hitting at once.
So the floodgates opened, and then came the boutique stuff.
People started refining the idea. Like in '77, you got the ADA Flanger, Dave Tarnowski's company, Analog Digital Associates. That one got a reputation pretty quickly for being, really lush and musical sounding.
And other builders started tweaking the formulas.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is how these boutique builders immediately started riffing on those early designs. They came up with different approaches, like using Vactrols, those are optical components, or adding more modes, more control, really deep in the possibilities.
But if we're talking about the flanger pedal that everyone seemed to have,
You mean the BOSS, BF?
yeah, the BOSS, that black pedal, debuted in 1980, right? The made in Japan one?
That's the one. Simple controls.
Yeah.
Manual, depth, rate, resonance. Just did the job.
And it just stuck around forever, didn't it?
It really did. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it stayed in production until 2001. Only then did they replace it with the digital BF3. 20 years. That makes it probably one of the longest running, most common guitar flangers ever. Just a total workhorse pedal.
So, okay, that brings us towards the modern era. Digital starts creeping in more heavily in the 2000s.
Yeah, inevitably. Digital modeling technology got really good. So you started seeing flanging built into multi-effects units, rack processors. Companies like Line 6, Fractal Audio, Eventide again with their H9 pedal. Lots of options.
So this raises the classic question. How does the digital stuff stack up against the old analog circuits?
Well, it's a trade-off, isn't it? Digital gives you incredible flexibility. Presets, deep editing, sometimes stereo, MIDI control,
Yeah.
all sorts of features. But a lot of players still swear by the analog ones. They talk about a certain warmth or a more organic, maybe slightly unpredictable quality to the sweep. It's subjective, you know.
And it wasn't just digital taking over, right?
Hey.
People still wanted the classics.
Totally. You saw these boutique resurgences. Electro-Harmonix brought back the Mistress in smaller boxes like the Stereo Electric Mistress, the Eneo Mistress. And then new companies, Empress, Source Audio, Strymon, they started making these really advanced pedals, often hybrid analog digital signal path, DSP, digital signal processing. So you get the analog core sound maybe, but with digital control, stereo inputs, outputs, way more modulation options. Best of both worlds, some would say.
Okay, so we've traced the gear. Let's tie it back to the sounds people actually know. We mentioned the Beatles already. Tomorrow Never Knows, Itchy-Coo Park. That early tape flanging really defined that psychedelic pop sound, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's inseparable from that era.
Yeah,
And again, you got to appreciate the effort involved back then.
definitely. But then, fast forward, completely different vibe. Van Halen, Unchained.
Yeah, yes. The MXR flanger sound.
Yeah.
The huge, swooshing, almost jet engine roar. It's so distinctive. So much so that MXR eventually made an EVH signature version, the EVH 117, to capture that specific sound.
And the Electric Mistress, that had its famous users too, more liquid sounding.
Yeah, often described as more watery or vocal-like. Think Andy Summers with the Police, he used a lot. David Gilmour from Pink Floyd, too. And later on, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins was known for using it.
It's amazing how versatile it became, from that subtle tape thing to, well, jet engines.
It really is incredible. It covers so much ground. You can get that gentle shimmer, almost like a chorus, or you can dial it up for those extreme swirling over-the-top textures, all from that one basic concept.
So what does this all mean, looking back at the whole journey?
Well, we started with engineers literally putting their fingers on tape machines, a studio accident, basically.
Right.
And through waves of innovation, BVD chips, rack units, pedals, digital modeling, boutique builders, it became this essential tool.
An indispensable niche, yeah. Driven by technology, but also by artists hearing it and wanting that sound.
Exactly. Innovation and adoption going hand in hand. And maybe the final thought here is, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other potential creative tools are hiding in plain sight? Maybe as technical mistakes or just unexpected artifacts, things just waiting for someone to notice them and run with it like they did with flanging. So keep an ear out for that sound, that swirl. And remember, it's a pretty amazing journey from a mistake to a classic.